Hello, everybody. Spirit of 420 here because everything that I do and believe in is so damn 420. But that's a conversation for another day. And let's just jump right into today's topic matter. It's right there. Invest in yourself. And when I say depend only on you for motivation, let me be very clear what I mean by that. I'm not saying don't take the motivation from other people. You want that. Thrive on it. In fact, you can even, how do you say, if it becomes something that you're seeing consistently, you can even um, almost count on it, but not depend on it. Okay. If you depends. First of all, you might be shitting yourself. It all depends. Uh, if you depend on it, then to me, what that means is you have to have it in order to exist. It is a dependent. It's why we talk so much about being codependent. You don't want to be codependent, right? Which means codependency in a nutshell, your happiness is dependent upon someone else's happiness. So to me, I'm going to turn this light down a little bit. Let's see if I can. There we go. In my humble, wrong one. In my humble opinion, um, and when I say this, this is more than my opinion, and I truly mean that. In my humble opinion and my years of experience, I have come to find out that the only motivation you could depend on is what you give yourself. Because here's the thing, right? I see you over there, man. Life is a garden. Dig it. What's up? Pia, what's up, man? I love you, brother. That's my buddy Joe. So if you depend on someone else, for instance, anybody other than yourself, for motivation, you will be let down. That is a guarantee. That's a guarantee for success. Okay. If you depend on yourself and you actually do it, you will find that you are more motivating and have more motivational ability than anybody ever has, right? But if you are depending on someone else to motivate you, then anything that you feel, this has been my experience, anything you feel is kind of, what's the word? It's like a false sense. It's like fool's gold, right? And what I mean by that is you feel like, yes, sir, you feel good for a time, but it's hollow, right? What the heck am I? Did you ever light one up? And I mean, it was like, it felt like I just lit up a fucking cigar. That was crazy. Like sharp as hell. Um, when you look to yourself for the motivation, you'll find motivation in things that you normally don't find it. What I mean by that is when you're motivating yourself, it's the tiny little things, right? Let me give you a for instance. If you are having just a regular day, right? What I mean by that is, let's say you wake up, it's a regular, it's a Wednesday, right? So you wake up, it's a Wednesday. Someone was telling me about this today, and if he's watching the show tonight, hopefully he'll remember. At least, who was it? Was it him? No. Yes, he may remember, but one of the things he said to me, and it got me to thinking, because I have these signs like grateful, thankful, blessed, and then one small positive thought in the morning is all it can take to, make your day, right? Brighten up your day. What's up, Dave? Good to have you in, man. So take that normal day, right? What I thought was funny is he was posing the question to his current girlfriend, you know, what's the first thing that you think of in the morning, right? And of course, I think she was thinking that it was going to be a trap, and she's like, "What are you trying to ask?" Da, da, da. And I get that because you may not know exactly where someone's trying to go. At first, I didn't. I was actually thinking, I was like, the first thing I think about honestly, I was like, what was I thinking about? I was thinking about breakfast. For me, breakfast means taking some kratom and some edibles and starting the day with coffee. That's breakfast. That's like the first thing I think about when I get up, right? Although I will say, and it used to be for me, it was that positive thought. That's what I did when before Skylar passed. It was always, what's the first positive thing I could do every day? So anyway, he posed the question to his girlfriend, "What's the first thing you do every day?" She finally, didn't get it, and they weren't fighting; they were just talking. And she's like, "What is it for you?" And he's like, "Well, for me, the first thing I do every day is I think about what I can do to make you and the kids' day better today. Right? How can I make your day better? What can I do that's going to start your day off a little bit better, as well as give you whatever you need and make you just a little bit happier when you wake up?" Right? And the moment that he thought about that, or the moment that he said that, I immediately remember, because I have multiple things that are sitting right here, all these things that literally talk about starting your day from a positive standpoint, right? And the reason that we do that, because a lot of people think it's bullshit, I know, but the reason that you do it and you actually stay true to it is if you start your day off on a positive and think positively from the beginning of the day, then you will see the day for the positive things that happen in it, right? And what I mean by that is, for instance, this guy, and I know him. He's like, I mean, he's actually a really nice guy. We talk pretty much every chance that I can. Many times I'm going and he's coming because he's one of my delivery guys, right? But one of the things that really made me feel good, just on a side note, is that he was like, "Hey man, you got some time to talk?" And he watches the show. So I was like, "Of course I do, man." For not only somebody who watches the show, but you're like, I've known this guy now for about 3 years, and he's a really genuinely nice dude. And so I was listening to this story and I was thinking to myself, wow, just on a side note, number one, this guy chose to come to me. And if you know what I mean, he talks to his boy, his best friend, just actually told his mom, funny enough, so that tells me that he loves his mother, but they probably don't have the most uh, communicative relationship, right? If he's just now telling her this. And other than that, he has dealt with his girlfriend. And I'm sitting there thinking, that tells me a lot about this dude. I now know why, even though I don't see him usually till well after noon, right? Sometimes maybe before noon, but usually it's like 1, 2 o'clock. That's about the time he hits us, right? He's almost always in a good mood. Very rarely have I seen this dude with a frown on his face, you know? And I now know why. He wakes up, and here's the thing, that's a gracious act, in my opinion, to wake up and think, how can I help out my loved ones and allow my wife and her kids, these aren't even his kids, right? How can I wake up and make their day better? I mean, that's just, it's funny because when you start your day like that, even if it gets hit with a little bit of pepper, and all of a sudden or I guess actually it's salt, right? Salty. If you either way, if it gets hit with some salt and pepper, right? Because to me, both of them, like one makes you sneeze and the other one just kills the wound. So whichever one you feel does more damage, right? When you start the day being positive, thinking positive, acting positive, no matter what is thrown your way that day, again, salt or pepper, you'll handle it. And it'll only be one of two things, because it's back to what I said in the beginning. If you wake up thinking about how's the day going to be good, what can I do, in his world, asking himself what can he do to make their day better. It's funny because he's not doing it for this reason, but it actually makes his day better. You know what I mean? I just noticed the backdrop. That's Slack. So hi, I moved it. if it matters, I really don't have time to go on tonight. I told I can't remember who it was. I was like, I'm not going to go on for very long tonight, but I wanted to come on just to make sure I did. But I've supposedly trying to get something deadline by tomorrow, and I've come hell or high water. It's going to go live tomorrow. That said, I'm supposed to go live myself tomorrow. On top of that, my youngest son is having a minor surgery tomorrow, so it's one of those. And today was busy too. I had to get up. I was up, you know, last 2 days I was up relatively early in comparison to me, and up and staying up late as well. But I'm getting up at 6. It actually felt good because I used to do that all the time. I used to always get up like 6:30, and that was when I started my day. By noon, I'd already had a hell of a day. Some good things that happened today. Not only did I start my day off good like that, funny enough, and end up having a conversation about doing such a thing. I am totally investing in myself, and I starting companies, but at the same time, I'm still looking for gainful employment at one last place that I can, you know, because here's what's funny: the place that I was at, I really did extremely well, exactly as I've said, and I built something that I could have, still can use in my resume in regards to teaching people how to sell, right? Because that's one of the things I want to do is have my own sales system. And what I know is the way that it ended being the fact that I was let go. It doesn't matter that I can do whatever I want. And what I mean by that is they broke contract. So in the simplest of terms, um, there's no non-compete. There's no NDA, and everything happens for a reason because I am going in business for myself on multiple fronts. But I wanted my last career prior to my own company's success, my own company's success, excuse me. I wanted my last career to be one of success that I left on my terms, right? And my whole thought was to try to. I really was thinking, that I could achieve all this by 55. And what I mean by 55 is that I had other income streams that now, and other income streams that will not stop and more than take over my income. And that's what I'm going to pass on to my kids. Technically speaking, I'm still on track. The only difference is I would have had 8, almost 9 years at the one company. And now, I'm going to have to settle and maybe just have another 3.5, 4 years at a company when I do retire. But I will have whichever company, I team up with, if you will. Quite frankly, I think is going to be a lot even better than the last one. I thought the last one was the best job I'd ever had. And there's still a part of me that believes that it was the best job that I had ever had up to a certain point. Doesn't mean it's the best job that I will ever have. And on top of that, when you truly believe everything happens for a reason, what I feel like is happening and what I see, and I'm even working to, if you will, focus on that and create it, right? Is that one door closes and 4 or 5 more opens. If y'all remember when I first got fired, just before Sky died, I even said every time a door closes, 3, 4, sometimes 5 doors open for me, right? And that's part of the balance. I mean, you can't go through all of them, but other new opportunities are there, right? There was a while that I had lost faith in the belief of no coincidences. And so I was looking at it going, okay, I am really working hard. I am trying my best to do this. But I feel like I was, in essence, getting shit on. And that's that self-indulgence, self-worth. Once you start doing that, you're not doing what it takes to have a beautiful life. I am not saying I have the most beautiful life by any stretch of the imagination. But up until I was interrupted, and what I mean by that is up until the loss of Skylar, I had gotten to a point at 50 years old where I felt as happy as I'd ever been. In fact, happier than I'd ever been in my entire life. And it was a, how do you say, uh, like a solid happiness. It wasn't a fleeting happiness. It was a stable happiness. And no matter what was being thrown at me, because at the time, I had my career just stripped out from underneath me. And just to give you an idea, when life wants to put you down or have you change courses, it's going to find a way to do it, right? So some of y'all may not remember, but I'm just going to give you a real quick rundown. October 3rd, last year, I got fired, right? October 21st, I secured $15,000 to $30,000 in seed money for my new company that was going to do basically the same thing that I'd been doing for the last 10 years, but open it up to some industries that don't have a lot of what this is. And I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not trying to pitch that. Okay. So October 3rd, 21st, in 18 days, I had formed a company, built the business plan, found investors, had them committed. They hadn't signed. We'll get into that in a minute. And everything was like, what's funny is I literally remember thinking to myself, and I actually talked to Sky on the 21st. One of the last most beautiful memories I have. In fact, the last time I spoke to Sky was the 21st, and he told me how proud he was of me, right? Because I was calling him to tell him how I had just gotten and secured seed money. And it's funny because the next day, and I mean, it's horrible. I don't want y'all to get sad. I'm not trying to do that. But the next day, life was ripped out from me in a way that I had never experienced. And I don't find it a coincidence that, it was right after losing my job, which for me, let me just say, y'all don't know, but this is now the third time. This is the third time that a job has been taken away when I did nothing wrong and I was truly doing the best job that I can and making them tons of money, by the way, in every single one of these scenarios, right? 3 times. Hold on a minute. Much love, man. Stay lifted, everyone. If you haven't hit the subscribe and like, thanks, man. I appreciate that, brother. Hit the like and subscribe, man. Anyway, thank you very much, Joe. 3 times starting in, what was it? Sorry, I have to think for a minute. And that's a whole brain fart. That's right. It was January of 2012, right? Yep. 2012. January 2012, I was fired from a job that I built them up from nothing and had just done $1 million in business for them. Then again, the next one wasn't nearly as bad, but it was, I should say, it wasn't, you wouldn't think that it was nearly as bad, but it was devastating to me. Okay. The next one, I had gotten a job, had a nice base, and after only 65 days on the sales floor, they were offering me a raise in position, a raise in base. It would be management. It was actually really cool because at 6 days, I'm not trying to brag, but I'd already gotten myself up to 7th place on a row of 40 some odd salesmen in the company. So I was backing my words with my action, right? And believe it or not, I got fired, and I have to share this. So I didn't tell you the first one either. All right, shit. I really have to tell you real quick. So the first one got fired January. I was the sales manager. I was director of sales and marketing, and for a publishing company that published basically books on how to trade anything from Forex. They probably now have books, I'm sure, on how to trade crypto, but anything you could trade, they had books on it, right? And I got fired for them because I literally told the truth and was not willing to go down with the FCC and the or the SEC, FF or FCC, SEC, and the COTF, which is, I might be getting it wrong, but community Commodities and Futures Trade Commission, right? These are the three basic places that you answer to when you're trading. And these guys were breaking the law, right? And funny enough, I kid you not, this is all factual, man. I couldn't make this shit up. They found out that I talked to and was clearing myself with these agencies before it came down. They found out that I was, because I'm not somebody that wants to take money. I'm not a dickhead, man. I don't believe. Here's the thing, just so y'all know, so you don't think I'm just some, dickhead. I was literally going to whistleblow for them, and they fired me. That's the bottom line. And they were taking money from 65 and over, fixed incomes of like 50,000, and they're taking tons of money from these older folks, man. This is their fucking retirement, right? So that was the first one. This is all documented. The next one, I got fired. I told you about it. I'd been there and everything was going well. I wasn't even there. I mean, I hadn't even been there 65 days, and I'll never forget, he asked me in the office and he fired me. And then I ended up finding out that I was fired because I shared that the owner gave me a $500 gift. I'd been doing really well. I told you, and I asked for more money. Not only were they raising me because I needed more money, I had a family. I was getting a boost in. My base pay was going from 47 to 60, which is a hell of a nice jump. And on top of that, I was going to be managing, so I was going to have people underneath me. I was very happy, and the guy gave me, the owner's son, technically speaking, gave me a $500 gift, and he didn't say I couldn't tell anybody. And to me, spreading that word, no offense, shows how much a company cares about their people, especially if they're performing, right? So he fired me. And he fired me 2 months. It was literally right around the end of October. I was fired right before Christmas. You're not going to get a new job right before Christmas. You know what I mean? That's just all there is to it. Third one, I'm trying to remember. Oh, duh. The one that y'all just heard about, or the one that I literally just lived through last year. And I'll tell you why I was fired. And what's funny, I've been there almost 4 years. I just closed $1 million for them in 2021. Closed more than $1 million, 1.1 million for them. And we had a meeting that was every Monday, Thursday, Friday. That's all it was. Monday, Thursday, Friday. It was in the morning. And we had to put anywhere between 2 to 5 bullet points of what we were going to do that day, like goals of that day, right? The dude went on vacation and said, we're not doing the meeting. And then when he got back, he found out that we didn't do the bullet points, and he fired me on a whim, which I still don't understand, because if we're not doing a meeting, like I've asked so many people this at so many levels, from grunts all the way up to other CEOs, right? I'm like, if you say you're not going to have a meeting and part of the meeting is doing these bullet points, you don't have to do the bullet points. There's no meeting, so there's no reason to do the bullet points. And not only did he fire me, you'll love this, but he did not fire my subordinate, who neither did he. He did not do the bullet points, and neither did another woman who was part of the meeting, right? It doesn't matter. She had a hybrid position, so she still came to these meetings. Nobody else was fired, just me. And to top it all off, over the last 4.5 weeks, just in the last 4.5 weeks, I saved not one, but 2 deals. 2 deals. When I say saved, one of them was worth 50, and I got the guy to not only stay but spend another 50. So technically, I saved and closed. The other one I saved altogether. The guy was 37,000 behind, and I got on the phone with him, and he literally made a payment of whatever a third of that was right then, and then ended up paying another third over the next week and so on, and would have paid the rest, but then I was fired. And what's funny is, even when I just got to tell you this is hilarious. Some of y'all might remember when it happened, but this guy fires me right after, just because he came back from vacation and told you what it was. But the Wednesday before he left on vacation, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he left on vacation, gone the whole week, came back on Monday and fired me. Okay. This Wednesday, he literally is on the phone going, I don't know how you did it with the guy that I got the money from. He's like, he won't answer anybody's calls. And I was like, yeah, I texted him, and then I gave him a call because I said I was going to call him. I mean, not only did he answer me, but he answered my text too. He's like, man, that's crazy. He won't talk to anybody. That was one. The other one was the one that I saved. What I mean by saved is he was leaving. Right. So one is lost money, and I saved that. That's considered saving. The other one was a guy who was leaving our services and going to take his 45 G's a year and go somewhere else and spend it. Right. Not only did I save him, but I added to it, and literally double, because we opened up a whole new market, which we had been talking about doing. He's like, I don't know how you did that, because he was so pissed and livid about all this. And I was like, well, I just talked to him. And, here's where I'm going with this, because believe it or not, I'm not unhappy. Everything happens for a reason, And I believe in threes. I believe in numbers. I believe in, following the signs. So starting in 2012, which was also that funk year that we were all going to die. So this is 10 years ago, and literally, oh wow, I didn't know this, but it's very close to the date. But that's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, 10 years between the first firing and the last firing, and I left one point out. I'm sorry. When I was fired the second time, I told you that was devastating because it was before Christmas, and I went into a severe depression. Right? When I got fired this third time, for no good reason, only doing my job extremely well, right? I literally was like, okay, this happened so that you go do it yourself, and nobody can fire you. You're going to start selling the same thing, which I've done before. I've been in business. What's funny is, even when I got some of these jobs over the last 10 years, they're like, why aren't you starting your own company? I was like, man, I don't want to run a company. That was the truth. I don't want to run a company. I was like, I just want to be at a place where I can make literally hundreds to even millions of dollars on my own pen. That's what they call it in sales, when you write so much business that you're making good money, right? And so they would even ask me that, but it was thrown in my face, right? Everything happens for a reason. FR, it was thrown in my face that I wasn't meant to work for anybody anymore. Now, having said that, I want to have one last job under my belt where I have a real chance. And this one is, just to give you one really cool idea. One of the reasons I want that is for my career move, right? Because then I can say I took it from this, or came on at this and did this. What's nice with these guys is they're adding a whole new vertical from what they've done for the lab. They're a big company. They've been doing one thing for basically the last 30 years. They have 6 salesmen that take care of all that business, right? And that's all you need. We're talking about agency type work, okay? And they're now going into a whole new vertical, still, part of the agency, and they're looking to have someone that will only sell that, someone with experience. They'll answer directly to the coachees basically. So there's only one person I answer to. I have no team members, and they have pretty decent software. I mean, nobody's perfect. I can't expect anybody to be perfect, but I was really impressed, and I hope that it works out, right? But at the same time, I am now opening multiple businesses, and it's not going to be, I know some people may think I'm doing it wrong, but I'm doing one at a time, guys. And these businesses essentially run themselves. Okay. I'm not going to get into all the logistics of it, but once it's up and running, it's maintaining it, and it's not that difficult. Okay. It really isn't. It's part of the reason why I knew I should have gone in a while back. With all that said, it was time, so I'm really not upset. I really am. I'm actually very happy because I had a day where I think I may have found that job that I'll have a chance at doing something, spectacular and different. Because what's really cool is a company with money, but essentially it's like a startup, and that's what even the guy and I talked about. I'm basically taking it. I would be taking it as a startup type company in the sales world, right? So early grinding out for some leads and stuff like that, which I already have a great approach to. So, fingers crossed. I hope that works out. If it doesn't, and this was part of what I was going to say, like right after I got fired and then Sky died on October 22nd, I promise you, I didn't even start looking for a job, right? And I don't think anybody would blame, but I didn't even start looking for a job. Technically, I think it was around January when I really started. I might have done a couple things in December, but I started looking for a job in January. And I was in no condition to work for anybody. It's funny because I was getting upset that I wasn't getting attention. Like my son and I were literally talking about it to each other, like so many interviews and nobody. And whatever I was doing, I even I talked to my wife about it. I was like, I think there was like a stink. Psychologically speaking, people can smell and see things on you even when you're not even there. It's just like you can see that this guy was depressed, because today it was really awesome. The difference, if you will, was this guy today was like, wow, you're really impressive. I like that you did this. I like that you did this. I love your passion for sales. I was like, thanks, man. I really, really appreciate that. I really do. And I could just feel that it was different because I haven't heard that. I have felt somewhat awkward, and it's almost like, I was going through the motions to tell myself that I'm looking for a job, but I think I knew then that I wasn't going to get anything, nor would I take anything. It still hasn't been a year. A lot of people are like, you shouldn't be doing it yet, but that's not me. The seed money for the company, that's another reason why I want to get a job, so I don't spend any more of the seed money, and I can save that, set that aside, and keep a hold of that and start getting another paycheck. But the seed money for the business was Sky's life insurance. So it really made it, what's the word? Fatistic, if you will. It feels like fate. This is what was supposed to happen. I mean, how many kids do you guys know at 22? A, have the job you have, that doesn't matter. But B, have any life insurance. You end up having two policies, right? You had universal, and he had an accidental. Just insane. So everything happens for a reason. Everything happens the way it's supposed to. By the way, I had a really good conversation with a, and he said he doesn't believe in fate. Right after he told me that he believes everything happens for a reason, and he believes in no coincidences. He's like, yeah, there are no coincidences. I was like, so you believe in fate? No. It was really actually quite funny because like I said, I really like the guy. We're going to be working together on some different projects, and unlike some people, he actually sees things the way that I see them, if you will. and I mean no disrespect to anybody, but there's very few people that understand certain aspects of me, and this is somebody that Sky did, just so you know. And that was part of why I know that it was cool to meet him. But yeah, he sat there. Yeah, I just kept arguing with him, but I know he was pissed off, probably like, "Fuck you, dude," because I was like, "So you believe in fate?" No. Okay. You just said everything happens for a reason. And what's funny is he even says, "Oh my God, what did he say?" It was really the one that got me. He's like, "It's an ultimate plan." I was like, "Look up the word fate, brother. I love you, but that's fate." Technically, and I know he conceded just to shut me up, but technically he conceded and said, "Okay, I believe in fate." But I know I think in my heart and soul, I think he was just like, "I'm going to let you have this one, Spirit, but fuck off." So anyway, I went longer than I meant to. I got to get off here because I do have a lot of things to do, and it's actually technically it's already past 8:00 here. So I love all you guys. Have a wonderful evening. I should be back on tomorrow night as well, because tomorrow is the 1st, and you know how I am. And then tomorrow's the 1st, Sunday is the 3rd, Tuesday is the 5th. So tomorrow, and then I won't be back until Tuesday. Right? That said, I love all of you. Each and every one of you are special. You are unique. The fact that nobody else thinks like you is part of what you should know, means that you're special and unlike anybody else. And being unlike anybody else is what makes you special. And I don't mean in that, whatever way, because I believe truly that anybody with any condition, anybody on this planet is special, and they have a purpose. So if they do have Down syndrome, or they have severe autism, whatever, you're supposed to. And by the way, those severely autistic kids are fucking, I'm sure y'all have heard of Idiot Savant. It's amazing what some of these kids can do that we call special needs. That's all I can tell you. So I love you guys. Oh, something I was talking about really meant it, because my ears are ringing like that. Fucking, it's tinnitus. I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful Friday tomorrow. When I see you, it will be after work. So you will be done with work, and thank God it is Friday, so you get some time to yourselves. I love you guys. Have a wonderful evening. See you tomorrow. Peace.
I switch here, I'm a strange fuck. Consist on ain't something I could say well. Throw my change into the wishing for a change well. Wish a day is swell life for the next come. And when the next come, pretend that it's the best one. Like I ain't even gonna try and say that to the next one.